places I've been, they don't feel like forever. But each step I'm taking, it seems like I'm finding myself.
I share with you that I got a new job. And I'm loving my new job. And I feel like, okay, check off of the list of goals that I have set for myself this year. My first goal was to find a place to live, because as I am learning, living in my RV, it is not difficult, and I love it when it comes to living in my RV. The inside space and the tiny everything, in my RV, I don't mind, and space-wise, I love living tiny. However, when it comes to the RV itself and finding a place to park it, that is a big challenge. And I want you to be aware of that if you're planning to transition into a nomadic lifestyle in your vehicle, especially if it's very large. Anything that is like a super class B and up is gonna be a challenge to park. Not everywhere, I understand that, because I have had the experience to live in Arizona, where you can find many places to live in your RV for free. But it is quite different here where I am in Utah. Very different. And in particular, the location that I am, because it is a very outdoorsy area. A lot of people come here during the winter and the summer for different sports, because again, it's a very outdoorsy area, and I love it for that. But that makes it an expensive area, and also very difficult to find a place to live in my RV. The act of living in the RV, no big deal. The act of parking or finding a place to park my home, big deal. Let's talk about it. When I first arrived to this area, I went straight to the RV resort where I spent all of the winter, and it was very affordable. That was my sweet son calling me. We talk every day. Anyways, he's the reason why I'm here. So I was saying that at that time, the rates here in this part of Utah, they lower the cost during the off season, like in most places, I believe. So it was very affordable. I was paying $800 a month with hookups, and electricity I paid aside. But I never spent more than $50 a month in electricity. And during the summer, I'm going to spend less because I have solar. Anyhow, the winter rates, they were affordable, I thought, because I was looking at another campground by the Utah Lake, and it was $1,200 during the off season, and that was the cheapest. And I wasn't willing to pay that. At that point, I better rent a house, and have roommates or something and lower the cost, because I don't like to pay a lot. I am cheap, I guess, in the aspect. I want to save as much money as possible, because that money is going to go to prepare for a life with my son, and that may mean to buy a property. So I have big purchases ahead of me. I'm trying to be as frugal, I guess is the right word, as possible, and just wait for those big expenses that I see coming up. I want to be prepared for a good deal. That's my main motivation. I initially reserved my spot at the resort from November through April, because in April the rates goes up, and I figure, oh yeah, I'll find something else by then. I just want to be somewhere for the winter and chill and get to know the area and see what I'm going to do with my life. It was at the end of March that I realized, wow, the winter is not over, and there's no sign of it being over. I thought that I was going to be okay, because this is sort of a rural area. But the more I get to know it, it's a rural area in expansion, like big time buildings everywhere popping up, new homes, multi-million-dollar homes in this area. So it's very expensive to live here. And I started to prepare for after April and realized that there are no other long-term RV parks in this area. There are other RV parks. So those close for the winter. The resort does not. and they reopen April 1st. But they're not long terms, so there are 2 weeks max, I believe. And I really don't see myself packing up every 2 weeks, and especially now that I am working. So that was not an alternative for me. So I realized that it was going to be a challenge to live this way in this area without having a long-term site. I don't want to be worried. I want to, like, if I'm working now, I want to focus on my job. So anyway, I started to look around in this area and nothing. And I started to worry. And then there was another woman in my situation, and we were thinking to become roommates, and we started looking in a house. But then other people say, think about it. And then I thought about it, and I really like to be living alone. I mean, this is my preferred way of living. I like to be living my tiny house alone. I love it. But anyway, if I needed to make a change, I am willing, I'm flexible. I have to be. So we started looking for something, and things were not lining up. And then I started to looking for a room to rent. I remember going to see a room at a place, and it was $700 for the bedroom, and the guy was super high. When I met him, which I don't care, but if I'm gonna bring my son for visits or things like that, or family or whatever, no, I cannot do that. Like me on my own, I am a boondocker. I would like to be in the boonies alone with solar, bring my water, do the things I know. I love that. That's number one. This is number 1B. I still love this lifestyle and what I'm allowed to do in my living in my RV. I'm thinking maybe I can call a friend and drive the Mini back to California and store it there. I look for different situations, somebody who will rent me a place in their yard or a farm where I could do work or even paid. I don't mind. But no, because the regulations here are also very strict. They're very tight, and living this way is not allowed the way that it is, for example, in Arizona, which is more free. Now that I am here for my son and my life is changing, I need to find stability. So if I get my son today, I will, and they say, hey, you have to live in a house, then I will live in a house. And I have options. I'm not getting rid of the Mini. No. My situation is very peculiar. It is not everybody's situation. So you may not have this challenge. I have this challenge, and I want to show you that no matter the challenge, I am going to overcome this challenge. And I want to show you because I want to inspire you to overcome your challenges. Go and do what you need to do the way you need to do it for you and your loved ones. That's what I'm doing. I want to show you the beauty and the ugliness of living this way by example. So it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge to find a place to live in my RV at a price that I can afford, that makes sense to me. Because at a point that doesn't make sense, I will again rent a house. Because then what is the point to winterizing and doing all of this if I'm going to pay the same as I will be paying in a house? I recorded the majority of those comments before I posted the video where I shared that I found a place to live, a long-term place to live. Because at that time I was thinking about what is the most difficult in my experience about living in an RV. So at the time I made those comments, I was struggling with finding a long-term place to live. And I realized then that the biggest challenge of living in an RV, it is where to park the RV. For me, as a single and solo female nomad, that was not a problem because I found many places to boondog, meaning camping without any utilities in Arizona, or actually everywhere I went. I went to very touristic little towns, and I had no issues finding me a place to park. I guess I'm realizing there are different types of nomads. For example, when I wasn't working, I was a different kind of solo female nomad. because I didn't have a job obligation. I could go and be anywhere at any given time, any state, any place. It didn't matter. So because of that, I always found myself places to camp for free. And that was the beauty of my lifestyle then, that I was able to do it at a very low cost. So there was me, the boondocker that loved to be in the forest or in the desert, just away from civilization. I really enjoyed being so close to nature and to wake up to the sound of water, birds, wind. I don't know, just lovely instead of engines. And now I am an urban solo female nomad and I am working full time. So the most difficult part of living in an RV for me as an urban solo female nomad is finding a long-term place to live, because I still want to live in my RV. It was really luck and persistence that I got myself this place. It is very safe, very clean, very modest people. Everybody works here, so everybody gets up early in the morning and gets off to work or school, and then they come in the evening, they come home. And there's just a very small group of RVs, and I am the smallest RV because, of course, if this is a long-term place and it's very inexpensive, why not have the biggest rig, right? That's the smart thing to do. Also, I'm only the second motorhome. Everybody else is a fifth wheel. There's over 30 feet in length. So that's the way to do it in a long term, because I am learning that it's not good for my engine to sit still for long periods of time. So anyway, it is challenging to live in a tiny space. Yes, it is. It is sometimes frustrating that you open a door and things fall on you. Yes, that's frustrating. It sucks that sometimes you have to get under the rig and get all dirty and always have short nails, because you always have to be fixing something, like anything, and you have to multitask and know plumbing, electricity, and engine, motor. But I don't see any of that as a difficulty, because I can overcome all of that. I can get adjusted. And not just that, but I learned something, so it's beneficial to me. So I don't see it as a negative. Living with less is awesome. I'm still living with too much, I know. And the ones that know me on a personal level also know that I still have too much stuff. But it's been a huge challenge for me, from being the stuck-up woman that never thought that she would live in a mobile home park, from that woman to the woman that is so happy and feels so blessed that she found herself a spot in a mobile home park. So I'm changing, I'm going with the flow. So the biggest challenge for me remains finding a long-term spot. My ideal place would be away from more people, or have more space, have half acre minimum. So I'm still keeping my eyes open, trying to spend little money, so I'm ready to maybe fall in love with something more permanent and buy something. I don't know. I still cannot make any permanent plans or commit to anything or to anyone except for my son. So that's it. That's the biggest challenge, but it depends on who you are and your lifestyle. If you are alone, you don't have any dependents, living for free in your RV If you are willing to be in the desert and be in remote places and be in touch with nature, yes, you can. Yes, it's doable. And, if you're a free spirit, you can do it. You can do it. But if you have a job, you have to be more organized. Let's talk about it at another video because I don't want to bore you. And this is about the biggest negative of living in an RV for me now. So take it with a grain of salt and adjust it and think about your situation. Tell me, what is your biggest negative of living in your RV? And leave it in the comments so other people may benefit of your negatives and my negatives. And then we save room for the positive on the next one, okay? So don't say anything good about living in your RV. Just open up, rant about the worst about living in your RV. But also think about it, if the negative you faced, then also turn in a positive. Even for me, parking my RV, my biggest challenge and my biggest negative is always worried about where to live in my RV, meaning park it. Even then, I have met people that otherwise I wouldn't have met. And that has made me richer in a way. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for connecting with me through the comments. You matter to me. Thank you. And I love to say ciao to you every time. It doesn't feel like repetitive to me. It doesn't feel like it's always the same. I don't know. I just feel special every time that I say goodbye to you in my way. I feel a connection with me also, like the Chilean part of me. Thank you for watching. Until the next one. Ciao. Mwah. The other part that can be difficult living in your RV is that the weather. You never know what's going to happen to your home. If it's going to stay on the ground. Because sometimes the wind is you never know if the wind is going to fly you away.